It is the integration of individual and collective mobility, in my view, that is optimal. So what we call multimodal mobility. The clearest example of collective mobility is public transport, and it is, without any doubt, the most efficient mode of transportation if we are in a densely populated area or on densely traveled routes. It is most efficient for the environment, for public finances, for the communities that are serviced by public transport and are less exposed to pollution and congestion of space compared to privately driven vehicles. However, the moment we move towards more remote areas or different times of the day or the night, public transport can become inefficient, and therefore individual mobility becomes the norm. So really what we need to strive for is an optimal combination and access to a suite of different modes of transport that include public transit, shared rides, micromobility such as bicycles or scooters. In the future also can be enabled by technology, by data, by providers of products and services, but it also needs to be enabled by societies at large. And by this I mean there has to be the willingness, the political willingness, the right legislative framework, as well as all the other private partners in the platform. At Uber, we say that we build globally and we live locally. And I believe that this can be said about any international player in the mobility space, whether it's a ride-hailing hub or it's an OEM or a routing service. For us, we operate on a truly global scale in more than 10,000 cities. And so the fact that we have a unique technology that is built centrally means that we can leverage impressive scale. And the fact that we do have that impressive scale means that we can continue investing in technology. And continue investing in technology allows us to improve more and more the service that we offer to our customers and to make them typically safer, which is one of the key aspects of a sharing service that needs to be taken care of. Now, we do have that scale and we do operate globally. More than many other operators. At the same time, we are hyper-local. We need to work at municipality level, not even at country level. We need to take into account the very specific needs that exist in every city that are linked to that city's layout and infrastructure. We need to take into account the regulations that sometimes can be different also at regional or city level. And therefore, we have developed the ability to operate with a huge variety of solutions, different vehicle solutions, different regulations that are embedded in our technology stack, and provide a service that is adapted to local needs. And that is something that, yes, we have developed as Uber and we are proud of, but obviously is a common theme with everybody that operates in this space. If we think about why mobility is even a topic, we realize that data really is the lead character here. We talk about mobility, and mobility is a topic because there is too much traffic, because there is not enough parking space, because there are not enough affordable solutions, for me to go from A to B. All of these challenges actually can be addressed and improved through a very good use of data. Through data, you can optimize supply and demand in a way that reduces congestion, that reduces the need for parking space, that makes affordable rides available to people. And so really it is at the heart of everything. Now, if we think about Uber and other ride-hailing platforms, they will not even exist without technology and data. In order for them to exist, you need high-performing smartphones, you need routing technology, you need artificial intelligence to build predictive models around traffic, and so on and so forth. So this is just the core. Without this, Uber doesn't exist. Beyond the core, then there's a whole host of technology improvements that we have developed during the years, and of course are based on the data that we have available. So just to name a few, we have verify your ride to make sure that you're actually going in the right car. We have ID checks to make sure that you have the right drivers in the car. For the drivers or the couriers, we have earning estimators that help them understand what is the potential earnings that they could achieve. We have demand heat map to make sure that they know in which areas they need to go to find more favorable demand patterns, and so on and so forth. One of the best examples, I think, of the use of data in our case is a platform called Movement. It's an open platform that is accessible to everyone, and is effectively city by city a collection of dashboards that is built on the data that we have been generating through rides in that particular city, and is typically used by city planners so that they can see how to optimize the public transport or road safety and achieve their goals of reduction of congestion, sustainability, or whatever they might be. I think that there's not even a question of whether it is utopia, because it is already real and it is already with us. Now, if the question is around how much of mobility can be shared, then there is a slightly different answer, right? I don't believe that 100% shared mobility is even desirable. Not only it is utopia, but I don't think that we should even necessarily aim for that objective, because 100% shared mobility becomes anti-economical and sometimes contradicts the very objectives that we want to achieve. And I believe that the right answer is in the balance that makes the mix of shared and non-shared mobility the most efficient possible. And by efficiency here, I mean not just cost, but also efficient for the environment, for example. Now, technology helps obviously achieve that balance, and continued technology improvements will tilt that balance over time more and more towards shared mobility. And I personally believe that we should always strive and encourage the shift from ownership to usage as much as possible, even beyond mobility. We have this one planet to preserve with finite resources that we need to share. We now have the technology and the sensitivity to do that. So